YouTube, like many of you today, I woke up to the news of another mass shooting. This one occurring in Florida at a gay bar. Um, and it appears the gunman has been identified. I'm not going to use his name because I don't think that he deserves to have that kind of recognition, nor do I believe that he has the right to the notoriety that, yeah, he doesn't get to have his name spoken. Not by me. His victims, yes, but not him. Um, the current count of deaths for this shooting are very high, 50, with another more than 50 who have been injured as a result of the shooting. Um, this happened at a nightclub, which kind of explains why so many people were able to be hit. Especially if it's a popular nightclub, um, people are going to be there. They're dancing. It's close quarters, lots of people, and and unfortunately that means that even if this guy didn't have a lot of target practice, there were plenty of people for him to hit. Okay, um, so I wanted to know how many shootings there have been this year, and like many news people, I took to Google in order to see what I could find. And I found that a lot of the mass shooting websites that are out there that are tracking these events are crashed. And I suspect that they're just overloaded with people trying to get the data that they need. What I did find was on Vice.com, they have a shooting tracker. It wasn't the easiest to use because I actually had to manually count everything for this year. But what I did find is that in 2015, there were 372 shootings, mass shootings in the United States. I don't know about you, but this number surprised me a bit because I know that I haven't heard of a mass shooting occurring more than once a day. Um, so I want to know how they defined it. And what they did is they defined it as an event in which 4 or more people are injured, not including the shooter. Okay? 372. Most of these appear to be domestic violence oriented, which is terrible news. In 2016 so far, there have been 123 shootings. In June, there have been 8 so far. 8. This is insane. It's June 12th and we've already had 8 mass shootings. Now, there's going to be a lot of speculation. There's going to be a lot of hatred. A lot of blame is going to go around as a result of this event. And I can understand that. We want to know why something like this would happen. And I'm not going to talk about gun control laws because I don't think those are going to prevent people who are determined from committing a shooting. They're not going to go through legal channels in order to get their weapons. Okay? If they do go through legal channels, then it's not going to stop them. Okay? We can do all that we can in order to try to keep guns out of the hands of these people, but unfortunately, this is a terrible, terrible thing. A terrible thing that's happened. And I can't even imagine what the people who were there and the family members of the people who were there are going through right now. Um, I don't know about you, but it has felt like the last couple of years have gotten more and more violent. And I don't want to make light of the situation, but it reminds me of some of the movies that came out in the 80s that were kind of talking about the dystopian future. You had things like RoboCop and Warriors may actually have been the 70s, but it was still that kind of idea that things are getting really bad. And I don't know, I haven't looked up the stats yet, as far as whether or not things are actually getting bad, or if it just seems like they're getting bad. Um, we have media that we didn't have 20 years ago. We have access to information in ways that were unheard of even 20 years ago. And this information, because of how quickly it can travel, it can actually be kind of disturbing. All right, so the big question, because we all want to know, how do we prevent stuff like this from happening? Well, I honestly don't think it's an issue of religion. Okay, every religion has their outliers. They have people who are such firm believers in what is being taught that they will take it to an extreme and believe that they are doing the world a favor by punishing sinners. Or they will believe that it is their right to hold everyone, even if they're not part of that religion, to the standards of the religion. This is coming from the perspective of a teacher, and you may or may not agree, but I think that the best thing that we can do, I think we need to see these people. I think that we need to reach out. I believe that as a society we're getting more and more isolated. We are online so much that we don't see what's going on around us. And I'm not saying that we need to take a big brother approach where we're reporting everything that we see, but I think we need to see people. A healthy person, I don't think a healthy person would do something like this. Okay? I think that this person, in all of the 123 events, involved people who they may have had mental disorders, but I think more likely is that in some way they were isolated by society. They may have been bullied, but for whatever reason they're not connecting. They're not connecting to the people around them. They're not seeing them as people. They may be calling them other names. We know that one of the best ways to target other groups is to use derogatory language because this dehumanizes them. And if that person over there is not human, then it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things if I'm rude to them. It's not going to matter if I don't let them have a job that they deserve. It's not going to matter if I call them terrible names and accuse them of being people who are on welfare or drug addicts or anything like that. This is a mental health issue, but I'm not going to be that person who says, hey, we need to expand. We have a lot of resources. And although I don't think that there are enough resources for mental health issues, I think that we, just as a society and as individuals within the society, can do a lot of good if we just start paying attention to our neighbors and actually involve them and talk to them and find out how they're doing. People don't get like this because, of one instance. I think that it requires a lot of instances. And some of you may have seen that story that's going around Facebook. I haven't seen it recently, where it was talking about this kid who planned on committing suicide, and on his way home his books fell, and one of his classmates stopped and helped him pick up his books, and he realized that he wasn't alone, and he realized that he wasn't invisible. And he changed his mind, and his life was saved. And this is a romanticized encounter. I think it takes a lot more than just one instance of reaching out, but I think that if we reach out, if we see somebody who is obviously distressed, and we just say, hey, what's going on? Can I help? Do you need to talk? Do you just want somebody to listen to you? Do you just want somebody to understand that life has been difficult for you? And it's something that all of us can do. We don't have to be on our phones and completely disengaged from the world around us all the time. Alright? And I get it. Riding on the bus sucks. Waiting in a waiting room sucks. But take some time. Look up from your device. Look up from your newspaper. Look up from whenever it is that you're using to keep yourself entertained and make that connection. Sometimes all it requires is just a smile or a nod or a little wave, just to say, hey, hi, I see you. You're a person. I'm a person. We're good. I don't think that people go to these level of extremes unless they feel like they don't belong to society. And I think that all of us need to be reaching out. I don't want to place blame because I don't think that this was a factor of religion. I don't think that this was a simple factor of mental health issues. I don't think this was a simple factor of gun control law. I think that all of these things kind of came together and they created a perfect storm, and they encouraged this person to make this choice. And I'm not in his head. I don't know who he is. Um, there are so many explanations for why he may have chosen to do what he did. He may have been part of a radicalized Islamic group. Perhaps he was struggling with his own identity issues, and that's why he targeted a gay bar. I mean, maybe somebody who slighted him was at the bar, and he wasn't actually targeting everyone, but he wanted to make sure he got that one person, and he knew that one person was going to be there. I mean, we don't know, and there's going to be a lot of speculation over the next few days. And I got to tell you, it's not going to change anything unless we change how we interact with each other. All right? Once upon a time, we actually got to know our neighbors, and we would talk to them, and we would invite them over for barbecues, and our kids would play together. And it doesn't seem like that happens much anymore. And it could be because we're super busy, or because we live so much of our lives online now, or because we're worried, right? The neighborhood I live in is not the best neighborhood in the world, but I gotta tell you, I think that the people that are near me are good people. Um, a former student of mine is across the street. I have a student of mine that when I first started teaching middle school who lives in the house next door. There is a family with small children that is next door in the other direction. I mean, if we just get to know each other, there is strength in that. There's a lot of strength in that. And we don't have to be spies, but just notice. Just notice when somebody's having a crappy day and reach out to them and let them know that they're not alone. I think that if we start doing things like that, that fewer of these shootings will happen. I honestly believe that. I think that if we start to pay attention to each other, if we see each other, if we don't just look away when somebody is crying, if we don't just say, oh, they're a drama queen, or however it is that we rationalize not talking to this person, or being afraid of getting involved. I mean, I think that's the only way that we're going to stop this kind of violence. We need to see these people. We need to see that they're isolated. We need to reach out to them, be friendly. And you know what? The level of damage that has already been felt or that has already been incurred, we may not be able to change that. But I gotta tell you, every little bit is going to help. Okay? It's not going to help everyone, but it's going to help. Imagine the last time you were having the worst day. Did anybody see you? Did anybody reach out and find out if you were okay? How would you have felt if they had? And if they did, you are lucky. You are a very lucky person. I have no more to say on this topic. Be nice to each other, please. This is the Fat Health Teacher signing out.